Hello and welcome to another episode of Anniversary Edition. Today we are going to be talking about 10 Things I Hate About You, which celebrates its 20th anniversary this year. 20th. Can you believe that?
It's crazy.
I'm kind of getting...
I kind of can. I sort of can. If anything, I maybe think that 10 Things I Hate About You is slightly older than it is, because maybe it strikes me as being a bit of sort of like a Clueless era movie.
Yeah.
When it's very much not.
I mean, it kind of is.
It is.
99.
I mean, Clueless was what, 95?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
five. It's
4 years?
But it's the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of...
But the kind of 90s that Clueless is in versus the kind of 90s that 10 Things is in. Mind you, they do watch The Real World on 10 Things I Hate About You,
Yeah.
They
which
do.
really dates it.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. I couldn't really believe that when
No.
I mean, obviously I knew it had a significant anniversary, but 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt old watching this. Anyway, as always, we're going to spoil the film, so go away, watch it, come back and have a little listen. I'm Sophie, and I'm here today with Tom
Hello.
and Adam.
How's it going?
It's good. So this was directed by Gil Younger, and loosely modernised retelling of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah.
So, just to give us a little summary of the plot,
Oh, go on. Do it.
it's pretty terrible.
I'm excited.
We follow the story of Cameron and Bianca and Patrick as he tries to date Bianca's apparently ill-tempered older sister, Kat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
mean,
you
it's
seem
fine.
disappointed. I'm
No,
so
well,
sorry.
I mean, there was no mise en scène.
No,
There was no...
I was kind of like, I need to write down what happens. I wasn't feeling particularly inspired. I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
I want next time, just for the Bard, if we ever do a Shakespeare-based film again,
Iambic
I would like the
pentameter?
synopsis. Yes, an iambic pentameter. That'd
Okay,
be great.
that's fine. I'll do my best. So top line, I'm going to start with this. I like this film.
You like this film?
Yeah,
she
I have
says.
so many fond memories of watching this film,
Hey, Tom,
and
should we just dump on this film really hard?
don't be so horrible. It's well, I think it does what it says on the tin. It's a teen rom-com. It's 90s. It ticks the boxes. Tom?
I'm kind of meh.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it does do what it does. Mm-hmm. I think, actually, I might have enjoyed it more if we hadn't recently have watched Mean Girls.
Yes, I can
Because
understand why.
it does the same job, kind of, but I think Mean Girls does it better. Or at least Mean Girls feels less dated. This does feel
Yeah,
quite
it does.
dated, I think. And I don't know, I think that's more engaging, more interesting.
Yeah.
And
I can understand that.
So that's kind of my top line, really.
Adam, how about you?
I quite like 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really goddamn love this movie, and I'm not sure it entirely deserves the amount of love it gets. It's certainly got a great up-and-coming cast. It's very dynamic, a film, despite the very clunky Shakespeare lines they decide to throw in there at times.
Yeah.
I don't get that, and I think they're sort of beating you over the head with it a little bit at times.
Well, it's a bit weird because obviously they've got the nod to Shakespeare with the character who thinks she's in love with William Shakespeare.
Yes.
But then they've chucked in the lines and
I burn, I pine, I perish. Oh, God.
Yeah, they don't really... I get what they were trying to do.
I think that's why it was more popular than you probably had the right to be. It was because it was a bit different.
So do I. And I think we talked about that happening in Mean Girls, is that it had more going on. And I think this... If you take the fact that we've talked about Mean Girls so recently out of the picture, I think this does do a lot more than kind of a lot of the other traditional 90s rom-coms that were around at a similar time.
The soundtrack alone. I think one of the main things that really dates 10 Things that Mean Girls gets away with, it's got the very zeitgeisty girl rock soundtrack from Letters to Cleo and at times Saves Ferris. I think the Raincoats as well.
Yeah.
Which, Mean Girls doesn't have that kind of soundtrack. So you're never like, oh, Destiny's Child. Oh, that's a weird one.
Yeah, that's fair. Because it's part of the plot in this music.
Yeah.
And it's just very much not in Mean Girls.
Yeah. Female expressionism.
Yeah.
We were starting off really beginning talking about the fact that 10 Things is a Shakespeare film. This was obviously... This was the first of a tradition of routine comedy, drama, romances that used Shakespeare plays as their base. Probably all inspired by Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
That's what I was just looking up.
Like,
Because
so people
'cause-
liked that film, and then suddenly directors were like, "Wow, hold on,
Well, when
We
did
can just
Romeo and
adapt
Juliet come
Shakespeare
out?
plays.
Baz
96.
Luhrmann. 96.
So
Okay.
so what I was kind of the reason I was looking that up was I was trying to think about, like, there's a definite shift in this genre of movie, because like the high school teen drama thing has been around, for a long time.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I think it reached its peak in like John Hughes era 80s, like Breakfast Clubs, 16
oh,
Candles.
problematic movie."
Very much so now. Ferris Bueller, like Pretty in Pink,
Say anything.
all those kind of movies.
Yeah.
And they were so big, and Footloose to an extent.
Yeah.
And I think in the 90s, people were like, we need to change it up because
We need to
they're
do more.
becoming,
Yeah.
they were becoming different. And, Baz Luhrmann did Romeo and Juliet, which is completely outside of the box.
Yeah,
And I think that a lot of people were not comfortable going that extreme, or
Yeah.
it would, because you can't. That's he does his thing in such a particular way that if
Yeah.
you even try to come close to
Oh,
doing
yes.
something like that, you're just going to be a bad
it would
imitation of that.
never
So
have worked.
stylised.
It would never
Exactly.
have worked. It has to be that. It has to be that Baz Luhrmann level
Yeah.
of style.
I mean, I'm not a fan of anything he's ever made, because I just find it too garish and I don't really like it. But I
Bit
can
mean to his kids.
I can appreciate the fact that like he has his own thing.
Yeah.
But then there was stuff in the 90s, like Clueless, like this, that they're like, oh, we want to make a John Hughes high school teen movie, but we want to do something different with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then inspired films like Get Over It and O.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Get Over It. Is that the Kirsten Dunst thing?
Yes,
Yeah?
that is the Kirsten Dunst thing.
Wow.
Which one's that based on?
Oh my god.
Check that.
Yeah, okay, let's think of the plot of Get Over It. It would have been A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes, it is A Midsummer
Yeah.
Night's Dream.
Right. And
oh my
O is
goodness,
Othello,
I couldn't
right?
remember that film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And O was played a bit more straight.
Yeah. There were a few straight Shakespearean adaptations in the 90s.
Yeah. I
About
don't
it.
understand why. I don't remember thinking, and I was probably around the target audience age. I don't remember thinking, God, you know what? I really wish I could be told more Shakespeare plays by young, hot, up and coming actors.
No.
All set in like California.
But
No,
I think
I mean,
the thing
just
is
on top of that, I mean, there were legitimate versions of a lot of the plays. Like
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh did Hamlet, didn't he?
Yeah.
And there was he did oh God, what was the other one he did? He did another one that he turned into a musical. I can't remember which one it was.
well, I saw an adaptation of him in Much Ado About Nothing.
Yes, there was
Emma
Much Ado About
Thompson.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a whole bunch of them where they did them.
But
Because
I think-
Shakespeare in Love as well. That was
Oh
another.
yeah, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So maybe
that's a
when
great
was that?
about that.
When was that? Because that might have kicked all this off.
Shakespeare just coming in strong
Yeah.
in the late 90s.
I think that must have been like, what, 98 or something? Do you reckon?
98, bang on,
Oh, boom.
Wow.
So,
Called it.
Yeah.
You just,
So it was the year before
Joseph
this.
Fiennes' his biggest fan.
I think the thing with these films, though, is like definitely 10 Things I Hate About You. I mean, I was trying to think when I first saw this, and I think I must have seen it in the cinema, or as soon as it came out on VHS, because I would have been turning 12 when this
Right, okay.
came out that year. So that I was like target audience, I guess. A
Yeah.
little bit under maybe, but
Yeah.
target audience. And things like The Breakfast Club and that kind of, they all passed me by
Yeah.
because I was, I guess, a little bit too young to watch them really.
Yeah.
And I never thought, well, I'm trying to recall, but I don't think I ever thought going to see this, I'd like to watch the retelling of The Taming of the Shrew
Yeah.
in a modern way. I just wanted to go and see a film that was coming out and it
Yeah.
had people in it that I recognised. You
Do you
know?
reckon these producers thought, if we play our cards right, schools will buy this film?
Yeah.
And they'll
Maybe.
get like
Maybe.
a hit way of telling The Taming of the Shrew.
Although I feel like Alison Janney's character is the one reason why they wouldn't.
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't she great in this?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
I challenge you to think of something that Alison Janney isn't great in.
To be
Yes,
fair, that's totally
very
valid.
true.
Yeah, she is pretty great in everything.
She's kick ass.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm like I said, I was trying to think about when I first saw this, and I think it was really close to when it came out. But
Right.
Tom, how about you?
This genre of movie, and I'm including like a lot of the John Hughes stuff in here, is mostly stuff that my wife has introduced me to, and I've watched with her. So
Okay.
we're talking like 2005 or later. I'd seen Ferris Bueller when I was a teenager,
Okay.
but I hadn't seen things like Breakfast Club
Right.
and some of the others. I've forgotten now. And this was another one that I hadn't seen. So it was probably 5, 6, maybe even 7 years after it came out that I saw it. So mid 2000s probably.
You poor
Okay.
sheltered child.
Adam, how about you?
Yeah, probably as soon as it came out on Home Ents. I would have seen this film.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley, you know, a little bit. When I was that kind of, roughly coming up to be, you know, at the end of my high school days.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been right up my alley.
So yeah, target audience.
Yeah, I like that genre of music. I like the kind of like skater vibe out there on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there would be anything that I'd be against in this film.
Okay. So obviously we all kind of, well, we mostly kind of like it. Tom's meh.
It's okay.
Okay, so Tom, do you have any like favorite moments or things that you thought were really clever?
No, I'm just kind of nonplussed by this film.
He's so whelmed right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's quite functional. I think my favourite thing about it is Alison Janney.
Well,
Yeah,
she's had like 2 scenes.
I know,
She's great though.
I know, but I think it's just like I think that I feel she's from in a slightly different film to everybody else. Like she's in a hard R-rated comedy, and everyone else is in like this like hopefully PG.
Yeah.
Let the
Yeah.
young kids watch it kind of thing, and she's just
Not.
just not and there's no like she's not putting on any kind of breaks for her character. It's just she's just going for it, and
Yeah.
you know, I think it's funny, and I think it kind of counterpoints the rest of the film
Yeah.
quite nicely.
So her scenes are probably your favorite.
Yeah, I
How
think
about the
they just
dad?
stand out. Yes, I like the dad as
I
well.
like
My
the
mum
dad
didn't
too.
raise no fool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his stuff's really good. I think he's kind of quite similar to the dad in Footloose.
Yeah,
But
a
without the
different
religion.
version of.
Yeah, and played a lot more for laughs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you were going out with that
Absolutely.
hot rod Joey. What's a hot rod?
So other than your favorite scenes with Alison Janney, nothing
Yeah.
else. They were probably the best.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I found the dialogue a little bit clunky. A little. Some of the delivery was quite clunky, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it was just because it's dated. I don't know if
Yeah.
if I'd watched it then it would have been like snappy and cool, whereas now it feels quite. I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't
Almost placed.
flow. Yeah,
I think the pacing's slightly off, and I think you would probably put that down to the director more than anyone else.
I kind of feel. I think so too. Maybe, and there are moments when I think that like they think this is cooler than it is. Like they're trying to make it cool and snappy.
when
and,
the teacher raps Shakespeare,
yeah,
I die.
Yeah.
Like part of me dies. I lose a day of my life whenever I see
A
that.
whole day?
Just from cringing that hard.
there are moments where it almost seems like they're trying to achieve Tarantino-esque back and forth dialogue.
Yep.
And they don't.
Just don't quite get there.
The timing's
yeah.
not there.
Yeah, exactly. That they don't have the rhythm that Shakespeare should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that becomes a bit of a problem. They don't, because of the way they're shooting it and they're cutting it. It doesn't have the flow. Because I think a lot of the stuff, if you watch like Tarantino stuff, like some of that, the shots are longer and the like, you know, and the dialogue is allowed to have this natural rhythm.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, it was cut to X when they are talking, cut to Y when they are talking.
Yeah.
And there's that momentary pause on those cuts that just kill the flow. So I kind of feel like, I think it thinks it's cooler than it is, or if that's just dated. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I find it a bit kind of clunky.
Maybe it's a combination of the two.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe it's just that it's a little bit dated and, you know, the direction isn't as,
Yeah.
I don't know, the pacing is
I think the
slightly off.
direction's off, and I think the actors, several of them, have very different styles in how they inhabit a character.
Yeah.
So you have actors like Julia Stiles, Larissa Oleynik, and probably Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who are very sort of straight shooter, reading off the script kind of actors. And then you put Heath Ledger there, who probably seeks to do something a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
He's certainly the most interesting actor of the main cast to watch at any point.
I think for me, he's probably up there in terms of like favorite characters or favorite performances.
Well, this was a star-making turn for him,
Yeah.
and Julia Stiles.
And Julia, and to be fair, I think she puts in a pretty good. She's a pretty good.
Yeah, and then you get
Performance,
you get the younger cast, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Larissa Oleynik,
Yep.
who at that point were probably the largest stars.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was going to
because she
say,
was
they
doing
were
like
big.
Alex Mack.
She
and
was
that
a
kind of stuff, wasn't
huge
she, at the same
Nickelodeon
time?
star.
Yeah.
She was just
And he was in
booking
Third
shows.
Rock.
And he was
Oh,
in
yeah,
Third
of
Rock. So
course.
these were two big stars from TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came in and
transitioned
they
to
didn't
film.
work again for years. Whereas Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger went straight
Yeah.
into Hollywood, like went straight into the big leagues.
Yeah, I actually think that the most kind of solid performance is probably Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I'm not that fussed by Julia Stiles or Heath Ledger.
Oh, okay.
I don't really rate Heath Ledger at all. Like as an overall as an actor, I don't get from him what other people seem to.
Interesting. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
Really?
I think
I
he
don't.
kind
I
of he's
just-
more
I'm like,
electric in this.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
He's
when I was
very
watching him,
active, and then
Yeah.
you look at Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's just very reactive.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's
Right.
great in this.
Yeah.
He delivers, a solid performance for what he's kind of an annoying character. He's just, well, he's not annoying, but he's not annoying. That's harsh. He's consistent in his
Yeah.
delivery of the character, and the
Yeah.
character doesn't really do an awful lot. He just he likes a girl. He calls her on her behaviour when she's out of line, which, you don't often see necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From when she's brattish.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
then he struggles to ask her out.
Well, yeah.
So, where's his agency?
Fair. But I mean, in terms of performances, I do. I get that, like, electric.
Interesting. Because I never get
Not-
that from Heath Ledger.
See, not massively. Like, in other films, I do much more from him.
Really?
But it's there. But
Right.
then maybe that's because of all the other films I've seen him in that I really like him in. And
Right.
also, obviously,
No,
I
I
was
think
I
it's
was a
good in
young
this.
girl when I watched this, and I was like, oh, it's amazing, and he's singing on the stairs to her, and it's just so romantic. Like,
Yeah.
as a swooning.
He's got some good lines and
girl.
some good delivery. So when Joseph Gordon-Levitt says she kissed me, and he says where,
Yeah.
and he gets this this cat-like grin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, in the car. And it's-
Yeah, he's got some great delivery of his lines, of
Mm-hmm.
his jokes. I find him quite. Yeah, he's a very active
Mm.
actor.
Yeah.
In terms of secondary characters, though, I absolutely think that Alison Janney is amazing in this, and I love the
I wouldn't
performance
even
of the
call her a
dad.
secondary character, though. Really.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's a star turn in 2 scenes, but she's in 2 scenes.
I mean,
the
she's
dad
great.
is a secondary character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
She's
very
almost
good.
more like a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
but,
She's a
you know,
cameo.
yeah.
But I think those two are great as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Larry Miller.
Larry
is who
Miller.
we're talking about.
He's in
Yes.
a lot of Christopher Guest movies.
Mm,
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's very much an improviser
Mm.
and, so he's very quick-witted.
Yes.
Very quick-witted. So
Yeah.
I think that you can tell that in his
Mm-hmm.
performance.
He's
even
very
though,
expressive as well.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
him watching the hair powder advert.
I love that. I have that
It's
written
just
down
a
as
really
like,
great,
a
just
really
like
nice
4
moment.
second skip.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I like the camera work in that scene as well, where, you know, you've got the advert showing, and then as it pans back and his little bald patch
His bald head, yeah.
comes into focus. I think it's a nice little touch. But Adam, do you have any kind of favourite moments?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately, I don't think any of them involve Cameron, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. I don't think he's particularly interesting, or Larissa Alanik, whatever her character's name is.
Bianca,
that's it. Blur. Blur. She is...
The film's not about them, though.
It's
it's not really.
about them. I suppose they're the people who get the story going.
The plot revolves around them.
Yeah.
But they're not the people that are...
Well, yeah, because if you think of the Shakespeare play, it's called The Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Exactly.
all
It's
about...
Cat.
It's
about
all
Cat.
about Catherine.
Yeah.
Cat's okay. She's fine. I still maintain he kicked himself in the balls is a pretty solid line. She doesn't deliver it particularly well, given how good the line is. I think Heath Ledger, for me, is the star of the movie. But only because... And I think this is direction. I'm actually going to say, yes, Tom has it probably on the money here, that the pacing is just well off. I do like the script, though.
Yeah. I mean, I just found this quite an easy watch. It's an easy... You laugh a little... And
it's funny in places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's just an enjoyable watch. It's not groundbreaking.
Joey Donner's a good little villain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's got some
Joey
great lines.
Donner.
But yeah, there's nothing new. I don't think there's anything groundbreaking, I suppose, about performances or the film in itself, really.
Well, the film was groundbreaking, and it is the first rom-com Shakespeare movie, right?
And
Can anyone
success,
think of
I guess.
anything else? I mean, Clueless was not Shakespeare, but it was classic literature made into Valley Girl movie.
There may have been one or two others. I can't think of them off the top of my head. But this seems to be the one that was.
This was probably the best timed.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had a legitimate cast of young talent that people were interested in seeing in a movie. I think the ones that were intended to stick perhaps didn't. Who has heard of Larissa Alanik since? Not me.
No.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt didn't become a big movie star again. Not for years and years.
No, well, I mean, he still did TV and that kind of stuff, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's a little odd about this, Adam? I mean, we've kind of talked about this, but
Yeah.
the pacing you're not a fan of.
I'm not a fan of the pacing at all. I think the forced Shakespeare is odd. It doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
Every now and then they'll just say something that is clearly, from The Taming of the Shrew as a line
Yeah.
in the film.
It's not
And
integrated into the
it's not
dialogue
integrated
enough.
at all. No.
No.
It's just, if you had, say, a couple of characters, maybe who were huge Shakespeare fans, the girl who loves Shakespeare, does she even deliver a Shakespearean line?
She's barely in
I
the
don't
film.
think so.
To the point where when she turned up, I was like, I actually turned to Nick and said, "Has she been in this all the way through?" Because she
Yeah,
seemed
she
to be
has.
suddenly
Yeah.
she seemed to be suddenly like a main character in one scene, and we were like an hour into the film, and I was just like, "Has she been in it before?" Like,
Yeah.
I
Just
could
kind of stood
completely-
there a lot
Yeah.
with Julia Stiles' character.
Julia Stiles, who puts in an oak. The thing about Julia Stiles is she has no business being in a rom-com. She's not very good delivering jokes, but she emotes like crazy
Yeah.
in the climax
Yeah.
of the film.
Yeah.
When she delivers the 10 things
yeah.
poem.
Which was apparently all just like natural emotion. That wasn't directed that she should do that.
Oh, really?
It's
That
great.
just happened.
And
It's great, yeah.
if you feel it through the telly, and that's all you really want from a scene like that,
Yeah.
it's upsetting. Given that I didn't like the character that much,
Yeah.
especially considering she's going away to college.
Well, yeah, and I never really, that always passed me by as when I was watching it, because you don't think
Yeah.
about that. It's like, oh, well, it can't be a happy ending because she's
Enjoy
leaving.
your 3-month relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over before it started.
Yeah, but again, it's what we've talked about, is those kinds of things that pass you by when you kind of watch it as an intended audience.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much else, there's so much other stuff going on
Yeah.
that you sort of don't even think about.
Yeah, I think that the whole concept of the taming of the shrew, and within this, it's very kind of problematic because you have characters who are trying to change the personality of another, right?
Well, yeah.
But they kind of do this. I think they do it in kind of an interesting way where she doesn't actually change that
She's
much.
never a monster.
Yeah.
Everyone just learns to accept
It's
her
about understanding and acceptance.
and understand her a bit, which I think is very good.
I think it makes the story of The Taming of the Shrew acceptable for a modern audience.
Yeah.
Because I think we've kind of touched on this in the past. If you wrote that or made that today as it was intended, everybody would hate the main character because
Yes.
he's supposed to change her and make her an acceptable bride.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
literally supposed to tame her, and like
I
you
mean, that's
couldn't
the
write.
plot to Kingsman, so...
I mean, you couldn't write that and have that as a rom-com where you are rooting for and you want them
Yeah.
to succeed as a couple, because you're like, but you can't change. You shouldn't be changing someone.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, she is obnoxious. That's inescapable.
Yeah.
They just find her a man who is okay with how obnoxious she is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they give her, you know, the backstory, and you have the little moments where, as you say, Tom, like it's all about a change in perception and about understanding rather than you need to change.
Yeah. I think the original script though was a lot darker
Oh, really?
and not quite as light and something like
Teenagey.
that. The female loving Shakespeare character Mandela, like in the script, she's supposed to be having had suicide attempts because she's that desperate to meet Shakespeare. So it's like
that's
it goes that dark.
Wow.
And then the producers, right, booked 2 ska bands to do the score of the movie.
Yeah,
and they realised it probably couldn't be a drama.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of feel like, you know, there was a lot of stuff that they did revise and lighten, and I suspect that like changing that dynamic is probably part of that, because you're right, it would be really, I think it's very problematic if it is just
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, if you look at it now, it's kind of a misogynistic story.
Well, yeah, very much
The
so.
Taming of the Shrew,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Shakespeare's.
I mean, to be fair, though, even in 1999, they could have done it easy.
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
but,
they probably could have.
yeah. It would. What I mean is, it like, you know, that element of it holds up now,
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
which in a lot of films we've watched, that's often the element that doesn't.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're still a couple of years off of making Shallow Hal, so I think that would have been fine.
Tom, is there anything for you that you haven't kind of talked about that's odd or that you don't like? Or
No,
just
I mean,
doesn't
I
work?
think like we've mentioned the pacing, and we've mentioned the sort of clunkiness, the drop-ins of the Shakespearean
Yeah.
stuff.
It's
Just
jarring.
you know, it is jarring. And I know they try and kind of
They try and like lampshade it a little bit by saying, "Dude, you can't say it to me in public," or that you can't say
Yeah.
that people will hear you.
Oh, it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, they're supposed to be doing the lessons about Shakespeare, and I think that's supposed to be why it's in their
Yeah.
brains.
The language, yeah.
But
which-
that
The
fails.
rapping teacher.
Yeah,
Not-
it doesn't
not
really
real.
work.
The rapping teacher is actually quite a good character, apart from that one rap. I really like it
Yeah.
when he gives that assignment, and Kat really enjoys the assignment.
Yeah.
He kicks her out the class because she's
Because he
never
put-
heard
you
her
know,
be positive about something.
He says, doesn't he, like before he can even see her, he's like, "What's your question?" And
Yeah.
then, he's just literally like, "No, get out of my class."
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that was good.
I liked it. Yeah, he's a nice little cameo.
Yeah, so I mean, those are the things that I think are weird or not that don't kind of work.
How did Cameron get to prom?
What?
You heard me. How
Cameron,
did Cameron get to prom?
he drove.
Yeah, but like he's not allowed. He's
Didn't
not
have a
senior.
limo.
He's not a senior. What happened there?
What?
Huge plot hole that I'm not okay with.
Sorry, say that again.
You can't go to prom if you're not a senior.
But he is a senior.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
He's the same age as Kat.
Yeah, they're all in the same year.
But Bianca? Wow. Bianca.
What? You're kidding me?
Yeah,
He
she's
looks
the year
10.
below. Yeah, he does.
He looks
10.
like he's just left middle school. I assumed
But
he was the same age as...
No.
Wait, so he's going
Why is
after
he in
a girl...
lessons with Heath Ledger then?
Because that's why he's buddied up with the other guy.
Yeah.
Because they're all in the same year.
David Crumholtz.
But she's in
Yeah.
the year
Just
below.
such a young Eugene Levy, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, we can close that
Okay.
plot hole up. He just looks so much younger than
He
anyone
looks
else.
So young.
And now it adds a certain level of creepiness.
What,
do you
taking the
mean?
younger girl?
Yeah, he's
She's
after
only
a sophomore.
one
She's a
year
year
under
younger,
him.
yeah.
Just a calendar year, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Fine.
Sorry, Adam.
Fine. Fine. You sunk my battleship.
Is there
It's
anything
okay.
else that's
No,
odd?
I don't want there to be problems with it.
Okay, good.
I'm happy that is solved because I was watching it thinking, it's just because he's such a small dude.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
he's-
the issue.
Yeah, he looks so young. He
Like-
does, and his
and also,
mannerisms are
at the
you know,
time, he's playing like the kid on Third Rock, isn't
Yeah,
he? So,
exactly.
This is the first time a lot of people are seeing him with short hair.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess he's cast in this movie because he is like a minor star. Mm-hmm. But making him the same age as Heath Ledger is sort of laughable. Even making him the same age as Joey Donner, or whoever plays Joey, I'm mixing up
Yeah.
character names and actor names now. But even making him the same age as that guy,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
you can't put them in the room together and assume there's
Okay.
anything less than 5 years between them.
Andrew Keegan played Joey Donner.
Okay,
He was born in 1979.
okay.
Andrew Keegan.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Where is he?
So he was 20.
He was 20.
I mean, he's a reasonably slight guy. I've interviewed him
Joseph
a couple
Gordon-Levitt
times.
was born in 1981.
Yeah, 2 years
So
between
there's
them.
2 years. 2
years.
years between
He's
them.
quite a slight guy, is JGL.
Yeah. I think he played young on the TV show, right? So,
Yes, yeah.
although I guess no, he would have been 12 when they started because it started in 93, didn't it?
But he didn't look 12. But yeah. And Heath Ledger?
And Heath Ledger was born in 1979.
Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
So he's only 20.
Some people, like, you can put them in the same room as each other, the same classroom as each other, and you'd be like, they're different species if they're the same age.
Yeah.
Julia Stiles was 81.
Julia Stiles, by the way, can we just talk about the glow up there? Because she is gorgeous now, but in 10 things, you're like, all right,
Yeah.
not feeling it.
I never really, because she did. I mean, Save the Last Dance, because it's
Yeah.
a dance movie.
Of course,
Obviously,
you're
I
all
love
over
this
it.
and watch
How
this.
many times have you seen it? 12,000?
Countless. But she's not kind of your traditional teen rom-com looking star.
No,
which
she's-
I quite like. I like the fact that she's not.
Yeah, she's slightly alt looking, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. Oh,
Sorry. David Krumholtz was born in 1978. I've just been going through the others now.
Okay.
Because you've got
78.
78. So he's the oldest so far.
sure.
The girl who plays Mandala, the Shakespeare obsessed character,
Yeah.
born in 1974. So she's by far the oldest.
Yeah.
So she'd have been
looks-
25.
Yeah, but
Really
all of
young.
them generally are within 2 to 3 years of each other, which is actually surprisingly close for a movie like this.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you look
It
at
is.
Mean Girls,
Yeah.
Oh,
when
my
there was
goodness,
like 7 or 8 years between them,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes,
they actually. You're right though. I would say Ledger and Styles feel sort of older than.
They do feel a lot older
Yeah.
than Joseph Gordon-Levitt on screen.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Larissa Olenek, what's
Oh, she was 81.
she was 81.
It seems to be the majority were either 79 or 81.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
fine.
that kind of makes sense. Anything else, Adam, that you found a bit strange?
No, I've covered everything I think I find strange about the film. He does buy her an electric guitar.
But with the money he was being paid from
You mean
Joey.
the very well product placed Fender Stratocaster?
Is that a Fender Stratocaster?
Yeah.
Yeah, which maybe teaches the wrong lesson. But
They do address it because she says, you can't always buy me a guitar every time
and
you
he
mess
says,
up.
yeah, I know. Then there's a drum kit.
And
Yeah.
at that point, I turned to my wife and said, "You totally can."
I mean, if someone wants to take me out on a date and they are the equivalent of a Heath Ledger in female form. I'm not going to care if they're getting paid for it. You know? Sophie, how would you feel about it if Heath Ledger, rest in peace, wanted to take you out
Yep.
on a series of hot dates?
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting paid for it, but how do you feel?
I'd feel great about
Yeah,
that.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not like the worst thing that could happen to you.
I think basically, if you're not paying, it's fine.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, if I'm paying, it all becomes a bit different.
Is this hooking?
No. Well, no.
Well, but he doesn't take the money.
it's
I mean, he
hooking.
does, but he
It's
uses
hooking.
the money to buy her the guitar.
It's hooking.
But he's never
It's hooking.
spent the money.
Hooking.
It's not.
It's hooking.
It's not.
It's hooking.
Oh, shush. So what still holds up about this film?
Hooking. That still happens.
Tom, what do you like about this? What still holds up? Is it still a good film?
Do you like the hooking?
I'm not sure if at the moment it does hold up.
Okay.
I think some movies go through a period where they start off cool, then they get very dated and uncool, and then later on they kind of come back again. And I feel like this is in the dip of that.
Okay.
Like I don't think it's I don't know, it doesn't kind of quite do it for me. I think it still feels too clunky. I think if I had to pick a movie from this genre to show somebody, I'd pick Mean Girls over this, hands down.
Yeah.
You know, I know that it has the whole kind of like
What if you had to
reimagining
pick pre-millennium, though?
Pre-millennium.
Oh, I'd maybe pick She's All That.
I'm not sure I've seen that.
Not another teen movie. Hands down.
Not seen that.
Oh my god! That film is unbelievably good. And it has
Really?
a great reference, 10 Things I Hate About You, into it.
Right, okay.
Interesting.
Yes. You have to watch Not Another Teen Movie.
Okay.
That can't be pre-2000
not.
though.
No,
probably
that's
not.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember because I haven't seen that many. Like,
That's fair.
I think I've probably seen Clueless, but I can't be certain that I have. Like, they're not things that sit in my brain particularly. Like, they don't. I don't get attached to them enough.
I mean,
Yeah,
these
that's fair.
aren't lessons to be learned.
Yeah. What they need is more car chases. If they had more car chases, I'd probably.
Clueless has a car chase.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but fine.
Oh, it's not really a
I was gonna
chase.
say it's not so much
so
a
much
chase.
a driving lesson that goes awry.
Really?
Oh right, I see. Okay, fine. But yeah, you know what I mean. It's like there are some things that just they don't that as genres they don't stick. They don't necessarily appeal to me. But I just think that I don't think this is I don't think it's currently aging particularly well.
Okay.
Most apparent in the opening titles with
Oh, that was
the sort of
so
graffiti style text.
Yo
Yeah.
MTV Raps,
Yeah.
The Real World.
Yes.
It was very early 90s. That's what really struck me. For a film
Yeah.
made in 1999, it really screamed 1992 to me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
very, very loudly.
I kind of wrote down, I was like, it's so 90s. Like, it's such a 90s rom-com
Yeah.
rather than a, like, 1999 on the cusp of
Yeah, I mean,
early
the second
2000s.
it came out on DVD, it must have been dated.
Yeah.
Which is weird because when I watch Clerks, I'm like, that's great. When I watch this, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you why. I can't explain it.
Interesting.
There's just something there that it's like, I think it really works for that. It doesn't quite work for this. And I don't know. Maybe it's because of what it's trying to do with the Shakespeare thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I think
I'm not sure.
think it's because it's pandering in its treatment. It's like, we're so young and cool.
Maybe.
Here's a ska punk
Yeah.
band.
Maybe. That
So-
was a bit of a thing for a time, wasn't it? In
A
those-
huge
those-
thing.
those
Yeah,
movies.
definitely.
That kind of band. And
Yeah, definitely.
I think a lot of bands made it pretty big based on these movies.
yeah. I mean, was it Offspring were in Idle Hands, weren't they?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the others. Less than Jake did.
Good Charlotte did.
Oh, yeah.
That was quite a lot later, though.
Who did that? What did they do? I can't remember. But yes, a lot of these movies would book a pop punky kind of band to do their soundtrack, their score.
Yeah.
Letters to Cleo. In fact, Letters to Cleo had two, because Letters to Cleo had 10 Things, and it had Josie and the Pussycats.
Not quite. Kay Hanley, definitely. Letters to Cleo, not so much, because it was a different band.
Okay.
So Josie and the Pussycats, it was her, and she provided the voice for Thingy. But she was in,
I assumed it would be the full band.
No, she was in a different band by then called Powder. And the guitarist in that band, he was the guitarist in that band, and he was also the musical advisor, so he taught all of the girls to play their instruments, basically. He went on to do a YouTube channel for a guitar, this like not antique, but kind of vintage guitar shop. And from that is now the replacement guitarist in Bon Jovi for Richie Sambora.
What a life that guy's had.
Yeah, he's amazing. Like he's an amazing guitar player. He's actually a fantastic singer. His name's Phil X. But then that all kind of came via YouTube and stuff. So he's gone on a really crazy transition.
A bit of a lesson.
Yeah.
I kind of want to end my talk on 10 Things I Hate About You with the idea that no couple in this film lasts more than 2 months.
The summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. But then that's actually probably quite typical
Oh, yeah.
of high school, teenage romances.
It's just they put so much work and effort into making these romances work, and it's like, there's no way this works.
But at least they don't make you think they're going to last forever.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like maybe this is why I don't engage, because I never kind of, like, for me, that wasn't what my secondary school experience was like. I never kind of did that. I could never be bothered to get into all of that sort of politics, for want of a better word, of all of, like, the matchups and all that kind of thing.
It's difficult because you can't date someone that your friend dates.
And it's
a lot of rules.
There are
bro
rules.
code. The bro code is thick.
I could just never be bothered with it all, right? So this isn't my experience. So maybe that's why I don't relate to it particularly well.
Yeah.
So even at that age, I probably wouldn't have been like this.
So Kat goes off to Sarah Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger can't be with her anymore because she's literally the other side of the country, so they break up.
Mm-hmm.
And because Kat's not with... So bad with names. Because Julia Stiles isn't with Heath Ledger anymore, then Larissa Oleynik is no longer free to date Joseph Gordon-Levitt. House of Cards.
Well,
All comes tumbling down.
I think the whole point is that, her dad shifts in his perception.
Hang on, is this whole movie about the dad again, like Footloose?
Maybe.
Is it his
Maybe.
story? Is it
Maybe
his
it
road
is.
to
His
mama
redemption?
didn't raise
Because
him
at the
for-
end he says
He does say,
she still, like, Bianca still lets him play a few innings, she still lets him be involved in his life, but he knows that she won't. There'll come a time when she won't.
Yeah.
And maybe he has to accept and maybe the lesson is that he learns that he has to accept that that's going to happen with Bianca.
he's got to give them their freedom so they
he
can
can't
flourish.
enforce, his rules on her for much longer, and she needs to flourish and grow.
She shouldn't.
On her own.
She shouldn't date Cameron anyway. She shouldn't date Joe Levitt. He's such a sort of boring, nothing narrator character.
Yeah. But for her
Yes,
dad,
no-
he's probably the best type of boyfriend.
Yeah.
I guess he likes sailing, so we know that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I was about to say, we don't know anything about him really.
Perhaps she drowns. Perhaps he's not a very good sailor.
Perhaps
Ooh.
what he really likes is just taking women out to sea.
Perhaps
so
he's
they can't
Dexter.
escape him. Yeah.
Perhaps he's
Wow.
Dexter. She
We don't
ends
know
up in
he's
a bin
not a serial
bag.
killer.
Maybe.
Yeah. That would make this much more interesting.
10 Things I Hate About You.
We don't even
Part
meet
2.
his parents.
True. But as
doesn't have
Tom
any.
says,
He doesn't have any.
But what if the story is about the dad?
Yeah.
So you don't need to see other parents because it's all about the dad
That
of the two.
is a bit of a stretch that we're indulging ourselves in because we
absolutely.
relate to him more.
Well,
we
obviously.
relate to him to a level.
Yeah. More than we would do when we were watching this the first time around, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
for me, certainly.
I don't know. I think this is a nice film. Is it a masterpiece? Absolutely not. Could I watch it again? Sure. I'd watch it again more than I'd watch some films I even liked more than this.
Yeah, and I would as
Such
well.
an
But
easy
I
watch.
think it's
Right.
easy to watch, yeah.
I think, an easy watch. I kind of feel like it's the sort of thing that if you just, like, if you're channel hopping and there's absolutely nothing on,
Oh, you'd watch 10 Things.
you might
Yeah.
you might just have it on in the background.
I'd totally watch it. I'd
I'm
actually
not sure
sit and
I
watch
would,
it, though.
but I could understand
watch it
why other
tonight.
people would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely watch this. I mean, I think for me, it holds up as a teen rom-com because it does what it says on the tin.
Yes.
You know,
It's funny
easy
in
to watch.
places.
It's funny and
never laugh out loud.
fine.
It's romantic, but you never fall in love with it.
Yeah,
It's
just kind of enough of a film to just enjoy.
yeah.
But you know, it's not a masterpiece. It's not groundbreaking. There aren't incredible performances.
You don't fall in love with any of the characters. I
No.
think Patrick is my favourite character.
Mm-hmm.
I'd hate to see something bad happen to him. I think he's probably the most morally decent guy there.
Well, yeah, he quit school to help his granddad. Is that what he says?
Grandma.
When he's away for the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He drills a hole in a guy's textbook. He does smoke. Right, that's it. That's all I
that's
have
it.
to say on
So-
10 Things I Hate About You. Other than, by title, terrible date movie. By practice, not a bad one.
So on that note, go watch 10 Things I Hate About You for an easy watch.
Sure, for an easy watch, yeah.
Although if you're Tom, it's
What?
meh.
Yeah, watch Mean Girls. It's
Watch
better.
Mean Girls because it's better.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much for listening, and you can
We
join
just
us.
spoiled it.
Do that. So thank you for listening, and you can join us next week when we are going to be talking about Spider-Man 2.
Yes, so excited for Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
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 Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
Are you
Adam's
kidding?
really excited.
Yeah.
So tune in.
I'm going to go off.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This podcast was recorded in the Upbeat Studio in Soho. For studio inquiries, drop us an email on studio@upbeatproductions.com. You can also find us on Twitter. Head to @upbeatprod to see what we're up to, and @upbeat_ents for our film coverage and entertainment news.